Dracon redirects here. In fiction, it may refer also to the home world of the Dracs. Draco was the first recorded legislator of Athens in ancient Greece. He replaced the prevailing system of oral law and blood feud by a written code to be enforced only by a court. Draco's written law became known for its harshness, with the adjective draconian referring to similarly unforgiving rules or laws. Life. During the 39th Olympiad, in 622 or 621 BC, Draco established the legal code with which he is identified. Little is known about his life. He may have belonged to the Greek nobility of Attica, with which the 10th century Suda text records him as contemporaneous, prior to the period of the Seven Sages of Greece. It also relates a folkloric story of his death in the Aeginetan theatre. In a traditional ancient Greek show of approval, his supporters threw so many hats and shirts and cloaks on his head that he suffocated, and was buried in that same theatre. Draconian Constitution. The laws that he laid down were the first written constitution of Athens. So that no one would be unaware of them, they were posted on wooden tablets, where they were preserved for almost 2 centuries on steels of the shape of 3-sided pyramids. The tablets were called axons, perhaps because they could be pivoted along the pyramid's axis to read any side. The Constitution featured several major innovations. Instead of oral laws known to a special class, arbitrarily applied and interpreted, all laws were written, thus being made known to all literate citizens. The Constitution formed under Draco, when the first code of laws was drawn up. The laws distinguish between murder and involuntary homicide. The laws, however, were particularly harsh. For example, any debtor whose status was lower than that of his creditor was forced into slavery. The punishment was more lenient for those owing a debt to a member of a lower class. The death penalty was the punishment for even minor offenses, such as stealing a cabbage. Concerning the liberal use of the death penalty in the Draconic Code, Plutarch states, "It is said that Dracon himself, when asked why he had fixed the punishment of death for most offenses, answered that he considered these lesser crimes to deserve it, and he had no greater punishment for more important ones." All his laws were repealed by Solon in the early 6th century BC with the exception of the homicide law. Homicide law. After much debate, the Athens answer decided to revise the laws, including the homicide law, in 409 BC. The homicide law is a highly fragmented inscription but states that it is up to the victim's relatives to prosecute a killer. According to the preserved part of the inscription, unintentional homicides received a sentence of exile. It is not clear whether Draco's law specified the punishment for intentional homicide. In 409 BC, intentional homicide was punished by death, but Draco's law begins, II plus or minus a 1/2 paragraph or 1/4 or 1/2 degree I 1/4 I 1/4 or 1/2 squared a euro I euro I 1/2 I plus or minus I 1/2 I micron I to the first I to the first I 1/2 I plus or minus I micron I cubed I micron I 1/2, which is ambiguous and difficult to translate. One possible translation offers, even if a man not intentionally kills another, he is exiled. That leads to the presumption of exile having been the normal penalty for intentional homicide when Draco wrote the law. Council of 400, Draco introduced the lot-chosen Council of 400, distinct from the Areopagus, which evolved in later constitutions to play a large role in Athenian democracy. Aristotle notes that Draco, while having the laws written, merely legislated for an existing unwritten Athenian constitution such as setting exact qualifications for eligibility for office. Draco extended the franchise to all free men who could furnish themselves with a set of military equipment. They elected the Council of 400 from among their number. 9 archons and the treasurers were drawn from persons possessing an unencumbered property of not less than 10 minas, the generals and commanders of cavalry from those who could show an unencumbered property of not less than 100 minas and had children born in lawful wedlock over 10 years of age. Thus, in the event of their death, their estate could pass to a competent heir. These officers were required to hold to account the prytanes, strategoi and hipparchoi of the preceding year until their accounts had been audited. The Council of Areopagus was guardian of the laws, and kept watch over the magistrates to see that they executed their offices in accordance with the laws. Any person who felt himself wronged might lay an information before the Council of Areopagus, on declaring what law was broken by the wrong done to him. But, as has been said before, loans were secured upon the persons of the debtors, and the land was in the hands of a few. See also Ancient Greek Law, Hammurabi, a Babylonian who wrote some of the earliest codes of law, List of Ancient Greeks, List of eponymous laws. Notes. References. Roasman, Joseph, and translated by J. C. Ardley, Ancient Greece from Homer to Alexander, ISBN 1-4051-2776-7. Further reading, Caruan, Edwin. Rhetoric and the Law of Draco. Oxford, Clarendon Press. New York City, Oxford University Press. ISBN 978-0-19-815086-2. Gagarin, Michael. Dracon and Early Athenian Homicide Law. New Haven, Yale University Press. ISBN 978-0-300-02627-6. Gagarin, Michael. Cohen, David. The Cambridge Companion to Ancient Greek Law. Cambridge, Cambridge University Press. ISBN 978-0-521-81840-7. Maine, Sir Henry Sumner. Ancient Law its connection with the early history of society and its relation to modern ideas. Boston, Beacon Press. OCLC 1310967. Phillips, David. Avengers of Blood, Homicide in Athenian Law and Custom from Draco to Demosthenes. Stuttgart, Steiner. ISBN 978-3-515-09123-7. Stroud, Ronald S. Dracon's Law on Homicide. Berkeley, University of California Press. OCLC 463502977. External links, the dictionary definition of draconian at Wiktionary, translation of original inscription, https://www.attisinscriptions.com G3/104.